Hey, before I get this lesson started, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai by Hashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone, of whom I learned from, and Shalom to the whole elect brothers taking this truth to the four corners of the earth, bidding the elect spirits of Yasharallah to the marriage supper of the Lamb who is Yahweh Shai. This is your brother Radar with another report. Slash lesson, but this is more of a report and a testimony or approving a prophecy that Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai is lifting the skirt of the Edomites because things are happening where they're being exposed on some of the stuff that they're trying to cover up. And this is the hand of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Check this story out.
I'm sure everybody saw the brutal beating of Robert Brooks that took place at Marcy Correctional Facility in New York. And what was never supposed to happen again because strict orders came down. If your facility has body cameras, you better be fucking wearing them. Well, it happened again on March the 1st. And a young black man by the name of Messiah Nantwi lost his life. 16 officers were placed on leave, and Special Prosecutor pictured here, Bill Fitzpatrick. He laid into them this week, and I mean laid into them. This was the ringleader, Jonah Levi, and Caleb Blair. Other perpetrators included Francis Chandler, Thomas Eck, Craig Clement, pictured here with his attorney, Daniel Berger, and he literally, I thought, was going to break down in tears. He was a nervous wreck. Nicholas Vitale, he's the shrew, the little mouse who did all the phony paperwork. Michael Iffert, Donald Slauson, and David Ferrone. Now, Special Prosecutor Bill Fitzpatrick, he charged the first two, Levi and Craig, with depraved mind murder. Basically meaning they lost their minds and just went to work with those batons, never stopping, never caring about life from the get-go. The others face charges of murder in the second, manslaughter in the first degree, manslaughter in the second degree, gang activity, conspiracy, and conspiracy to introduce a false instrument for filing, conspiracy and conspiracy to tamper with physical evidence, also the planting of a weapon after the fact. Now, the special prosecutor said that this was a conspiracy from the get-go, and the conspiracy to cover it up was amateurish at best. He said they met the morning after at this cafe called Raspberries Cafe in Oneida, and they all discussed what transpired. Remember I said there were 16? Well, 6 are snitching on the other 10. He already cut deals, and they'll plead out to lesser charges. But they all met. They discussed how it went down, who was going to say where, who was going to say did what, how it all was going to be covered up, and who was actually going to plant the weapon, and who was going to offer to say that they found the weapon. It was a conspiracy from the get-go. 2 sergeants were charged also, as well as the others, because they did nothing and they could have stopped it. A couple of the officers got charged because they could have stopped it, did nothing, but yet they cleaned up the blood in the infirmary and they cleaned up the blood in the cell to make it look as if nothing happened. The special prosecutor said this was heinous, beyond heinous, with zero regard for life, and you have all these guys that are due back in court at the end of May on the 22nd and the 23rd. So we're going to wait to see what happens with these guys.
Let's see if we can find a little bit more before we get some precepts.
We want to get to a developing story that we are following now, as 10 New York prison guards have been charged in connection with the fatal beating of a 22-year-old inmate last month.
22 years old. The dude is a fucking youngster, man.
Including 2 charged with murder. It's the second time a group of correctional officers in that state has been indicted for a death behind bars this year. We are hearing from the state attorney right now, providing more information. So let's pop up the audio and listen in.
Good afternoon, everybody also. Good afternoon. My name is Bill Fitzpatrick. I am the Onondaga County elected DA, and I have been appointed special prosecutor by the Attorney General, Letitia James, to investigate the death of Messiah Nantwi, which, as you know, occurred on March 1st of this year. Today in Oneida County, grand jury reported out a single indictment charging 10 current and former corrections officers with various crimes relating to the death of Mr. Nantwi. 6 other corrections officers who have not appeared in court yet have agreed to cooperate with the special prosecutor, and I have made deals with them. 2 of them will be pleading to felonies, and 4 of them will be pleading to various misdemeanors. All defendants, even those that I've made deals with, are entitled to the presumption of innocence. An indictment is only an indictment. It's a set of allegations, and there's a lot of work yet to be done in this particular case. I'd like to summarize for you what is in the public record regarding the indictment as to the events of Saturday, March 1st of this year. As you all know, and as Commissioner Marcello is acutely aware, at that time there was a corrections officer strike going on. There's also an influx of National Guardsmen that were present at Midstate and several other correctional facilities throughout the state of New York. At approximately 10:55 a.m. that morning, the people are able to show that all was well in Building 21 where Mr. Nantwey resided. I know that because the corrections officer who was assigned to do rounds on that occasion walked past his room at approximately 10:55 a.m. and there was nothing going on. At about 10:58 a.m., a call went out over the radio at the facility calling for backup. The evidence will show that when the CERT team responded and got there at approximately 11 a.m., there was virtually no or minimal effort to determine what was the need for the backup, what the nature of the call was. No weapons were observed and no assaultive behavior was observed by the CERT team members as they entered Building 21. A non-CERT team member, a corrections officer, recorded the last video of Mr. Nantwey before the alleged assault, and he was no longer able to communicate. That corrections officer exited the room and various CERT team members entered. None of them, to our knowledge at this point, were wearing mandated body-worn cameras. Approximately 4.5 minutes later, Mr. Nantwey is removed from his room and taken down 3 sets of stairs where it is alleged by the grand jury that an additional assault occurred in the stairwell. Handcuffed and taken to the infirmary and laid on the floor in a holding cell, an additional assault is alleged to have occurred by the grand jury. Fragments of Mr. Nantwey's entrance into the infirmary are captured on one corrections officer's body-worn camera. It is not a continuing flow, but there are enough indications to name and identify the individuals involved and some of the things that occurred. Many other corrections officers, apparently intentionally, either turned off their cameras, placed them in an area of concealment, or simply looked the other way. Kunkel ambulance personnel responded to the infirmary following a call at 11:36 a.m. At approximately 11:47 a.m., and at that point detected no signs of life in Mr. Nantwey. It was determined by the Onondaga County Medical Examiner that Mr. Nantwey died from traumatic brain injuries as a result of violent blows to his head, as well as at least 69 other serious blows about his body. No COs required any medical intervention. I was appointed special prosecutor shortly after the incident and assisted by my own investigative team, officials from the Department of Corrections and Community Service, and the New York State Police. We began an investigation and wanted to assist the grand jury in answering the following questions. Who, if anyone, was justified in using physical force against Mr. Nantwey? 2, if initial force was justified, did it remain appropriate and proportionate to the danger presented, if any, throughout the encounter? And did it follow DOC's protocols? And 3rd, were efforts made to thwart my investigation by deception, concealment, or destruction? The grand jury has answered those questions as follows. The first count charges 2 individuals, corrections officers Jonah Levy and Caleb Blair, with depraved mind murder. Not an intentional murder, but a murder so depraved and so wanton and disregarding of human life that New York law allows it to rise to the level of intentional murder. They are charged based on their actions not only in Mr. Nantwey's room, but also in the stairwell and in the infirmary. Secondly, the grand jury has returned charges of manslaughter in the first degree, intent to cause serious physical injury resulting in death. Those corrections officers are again Levi and Blair, and additionally Thomas Eck, Craig Clement, and Daniel Berger. They are also charged with gang assault in the first degree, intent to cause serious physical injury, and doing so, a Class B violent felony. Same individuals, Levy, Blair, Eck, Clement, and Berger. Gang assault in the second degree, intent to cause simply physical injury and resulting in serious physical injury. And this time the same individuals in addition to Sergeant Francis Chandler. Manslaughter in the second degree has been charged against Sergeants David Ferrone and Francis Chandler. The theory of prosecution on that count is that these two sergeants in a supervisory role in Mr. Nantwee's room did absolutely nothing to stop the beating that he was enduring and offered absolutely no assistance to him, completely contrary to DOC's protocols and guidelines. Then the grand jury began to focus on the cover-up, as amateurish and ineffective as it was. In the sixth count, David Ferrone, Francis Chandler, Jonah Levy, Caleb Blair, Thomas Eck, Nicholas Vitale, Daniel Berger, and Craig Clement are charged with conspiracy to offer a false instrument for filing. DOCS has a form known as 2104A, which requires the individual corrections officer who was present to indicate who was present at the scene, what force was used by the author of the report, and what force was witnessed by the author of the report. In addition to charging conspiracy, the grand jury must also allege overt acts. In this case, the overt acts alleged are, number one, that every single use of force reported by these individuals omitted two people, Sergeant Chandler and Corrections Officer Levi, and that was done intentionally. The second overt act, it is alleged that the reports were in fact filed and known to be false when they were filed. And the third overt act alleged is that on the following morning, at a diner called Raspberries in Oneida County, all of the co-conspirators met and agreed to continue with the story that everything they did was completely proper. David Ferrone, Francis Chandler, and Thomas Eck are also charged with conspiracy and conspiracy to tamper with physical evidence. These three individuals, along with others known to the grand jury, allegedly concocted a scheme to posthumously plant a weapon in Mr. Nantwee's room. The overt acts alleged in favor of that conspiracy, alleged overt act number one, is that the weapon itself was found earlier that day in a completely unrelated incident. The second overt act, a body-worn camera intentionally hung in a men's room at the infirmary of Midstate, caught two of the co-conspirators discussing the conspiracy to plant the weapon, again posthumously, on Mr. Nantwee. And the third overt act alleged is that defendant Chandler, actually in front of a group of all of the corrections officers, asked for a volunteer to have someone come forward and say that it was he that discovered the weapon. And it is alleged that that quote-unquote volunteer, it was Thomas Eck. Mr. Slauson, Corrections Officer Donald Slauson, is charged with tampering with physical evidence, and it is alleged that he had cleaned up the holding cell of all of Mr. Nantwee's blood over at the infirmary. And the final defendant is Sergeant Michael Eifert. He is charged, again, with offering a false instrument for filing, allegedly falsely asserting that he had no opportunity to look into the room and, in fact, saw no use of physical force against Mr. Nantwee. I want to thank the staff, my office. Probably 10% of my office has been involved in corrections officers allegedly committing homicides over the last 2 months. And I'm joined here with Senior Assistant DA Sarah Fitzpatrick and Senior Assistant DA Alphonse Williams. who have done an incredible job in helping me present this evidence to a grand jury. I also am joined here today by Ruben Lindo and the Reverend Kevin McCall, who are both individuals who have supported me throughout my endeavors in an effort to get justice, not only for Mr. Brooks, but for Mr. Nantwi as well. I don't believe that anybody from Mr. Nantwi's family is here. The only individual from his family that I've spoken to is through his attorney, his dad, and I understand that his dad is not in the greatest of physical shape and apparently was unable to travel here today. I also want to thank Troopers Tim Doherty, Bill Casey, Tom Quilter, Denny Doherty, Andy Wilmot, and if I may reserve a special spot for Olivia Tabor, who have been just incredible in helping me present this case.
All right, what you're listening to right there is a news conference underway. This is with William Fitzpatrick. He is the district attorney who is serving as special prosecutor in this case. But once again,
crazy, huh? So I'm just gonna get a couple of. I'm gonna post this story. I'm just gonna get a couple precepts seriously, and I'm gonna stop it because I just want to post a story. That's crazy. All that shit, man. Let's just. This is Yahweh doing this. Exposing Esau, because Esau doesn't expose himself. I will lift up thy skirt. Okay, this is what's happening. We're being shown who this person is. Nahum 3:5. Behold, I am against thee, saith Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. Nakedness is transgressions and sins, and everything is being revealed. The man of sin is talking about Esau. He is being revealed. Okay, let's go in to the foundation of the fucking judicial system in America, which is an Edomite judicial system, a so-called white man judicial system. And the 13th Amendment, in the way it's constructed, shows you why it is fucked up and how it's been fucked up from the beginning, and how for the most part it's been aimed at us. And it's never been about rehabilitation. It's never been about any form of righteous correction. It's always and only been about oppression and monetization so that Esau can make money, and it's slavery. And this connects to what the Word of God said in Deuteronomy. Okay, that you will be sold to your enemies, and you will be a spoil all the time, and no man shall buy you. This doesn't stop until Yahushua comes back and destroys Edom. There's no amount of marching, even in this story, with these men getting arrested. Them getting arrested is not the point. That's not justice, because prophecy says Esau has to go into slavery for 1,000 years. Not just a handful of Edomites going to jail. The entire nation has to go into jail, you guys. But look at the way that they wrote this. And this is written back in the 1860s, 1880s. I don't know the exact date, but we didn't have any rights to defend ourselves in court, like pretty much how we don't today, but even more so back then when they wrote this. So I'm going to read it. The 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution, ratified in 1865. So this bullshit that it says abolish slavery, that's right there. They're already lying to you, because once you read how it's written, it didn't abolish shit. It abolished slavery and involuntary servitude in the United States, and then right there, except as punishment for a crime. Well, then what's going to happen? So now they're just going to criminalize you. So what Esau's going to do is now he's going to treat you the way you see these prison guards treating this inmate. He's going to do that to you in the streets. He's going to make it where he can arrest you. So he didn't abolish fucking shit, because there wouldn't be that clause. If I say, I forgive you, but it doesn't matter. The fact that I just said but, I just put a condition that I'm not really forgiving you. If I say something to you and then say but, the but is a pivotal, it's a revolving door that can change what I just said in front of that but. So when they say, well, we abolished slavery, except as punishment for a crime, what the fuck? They should even have, so that shows you how wicked these people are, okay? And the entire foundation of the judicial system in America that is controlled by the so-called white man, Esau, and all the prisons are owned by him, is founded on this goddamn amendment. And you can see why it's so fucked up for us here. But scripture and prophecy said what? We would be sold to our enemies. We are paying the price for the adultery, for the transgressions, the violent, disrespectful, imperious adultery that we did in the past to our power, Yahweh by Sim Yahushai, and this is now our punishment. We're almost coming to an end. So this is what's happening, you guys. All right? A formal end to slavery. Prior to the 13th Amendment, slavery was a legal institution in many parts of the United States, particularly in the South. The amendment provided a constitutional solution to formally end it. See how they write it? It's all bullshit because it hasn't ended. We're still slaves. Until we are sovereign, we will be continually oppressed by these fucking people, okay? So I just wanted to show that. I don't want to go into too many precepts, but you see what it is. I mean, goddamn, two of those dudes are getting charged with some kind of weird fucking version of murder because they were so animalistic with this guy that's how they got to charge his ass. They're with the dude's fucking handcuffed. 10 fucking Edomite men, you guys. On the 22-year-old kid. And look, I'm pretty sure that Jake was a fucking dumbass. That's why he's in prison. But what's the excuse of these 10 dudes? How do you? And then they're all meeting together outside of work. Don't you fuckers have wives? I mean, god damn, they work in prison. They're conspiring against this dude, right? And yet they gotta fucking meet together at a restaurant and talk about how they're gonna fucking cover up how they killed that dude, bro. So that's crazy. That fucking shit it's just wild, bro. But it shows you who the fuck Esau is, man. I just want to.
New York against Caleb Blair.
Look at this piece of shit. Look at him, all clean cut. Hey, I got my little light blue eyes. But now look how weak he is because now he's in the spotlight. Prior to this, I guarantee the guy was walking around with his dick fucking dragging on the ground on the shit, just picking on Jakes, dude.
2025 at 090. Are you Caleb Blair? It's not. Walk right up to that microphone. And what is your date of birth?
Look at him, bro. He looks like he's still 3 years old in a big old body. But when he gets a chance to fuck you up, and you're so-called black, oh, he's gonna come in there and fucking butt fuck you. These fucking people are weirdos, man.
June 6th, 1994. And how old are you right now? 30 years old. And Councilor, can you state your name for the record? William Sullivan. Mr. Blair, the United County Grand Jury has returned an indictment against you. That indictment charges you with murder in the second degree, manslaughter in the first degree, gang assault in the first degree, gang assault in the second degree, conspiracy in the fifth degree, and offering a false system for filing in the first degree. You have a right to be represented by counsel.
We want to get to a developing story that
indictment saying defendants began beating Messiah Nantwi, including multiple strikes to his body and head with their
details have been released in how Mid-State Correctional inmate Messiah Nantwi died on March 1st.
Look at these motherfuckers, man. God damn. This, for thy hatred. Let me see if I can find that precept. Hold on. For thy hatred against thy brother. I mean, it says, and Tawada Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, and we give double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, because we've learned this truth to them. And now that we can hear Yahushai and we understand the standard of the scriptures, we can go into the scriptures by ourselves and locate the same doctrine. And it's crazy how much it all ties together. For thy hatred, let me see, for thy hatred against thy brother. Let me see if I can put, this is a prophecy. Let me see. For the violence, yeah, Obadiah. So look at this. This is talking about Esau, because we know. Okay, look, and let's just We're going to read it, okay? This is so you know. So Obadiah is just one page. Look at the first line. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom, the whole nation, not just the one man, his entire offspring, his house, his lineage, his seed, the nation. That's Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, from Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. The so-called white race, the Edomites, on the planet, make up about 7 to 8% of the human population. Super small numbers, man. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest into the cliffs and the rocks, going into where they came from, Petra, Mount Seir, and then how now in America they were the first to start creating and building high-rises. They were the first to build the skyscraper because they're proud and like to look down. And then once they built the skyscraper, other nations began to copy them. So this is identifying how they do their architectural style of living. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Because he's very proud. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, his national bird is the eagle. It's on the quarter, it's on the dollar, it's in every courthouse, and it's on fucking every flag. And it's also the Germans, the Spaniards, the fucking French, the British, they all have the eagle. This identifies in Rome, Roman coins, the Rome, back when Rome, 2,000 years ago, it was the Edomites. This is who they are. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, talking about their satellite systems and them constantly trying to penetrate the fucking, the firmament with their rockets, okay? Thence will I bring thee down, says Yahweh. If these came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? But you guys don't stop. You keep going because you're so fucking endlessly greedy. If grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things of Esau searched out? These prophecies. The prophets, the elders and the apostles, the great millstone, the men following them, we are exposing Esau through the scriptures because he's not white, he's the Edomite. How art the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of that confederacy. Now this goes into their fucking allies, and you see what's happening with Canada, and now fucking the EU is getting pissed off. Everyone that they deal with is going to turn on them because they're so fucking fiendish. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Shall I not in the day, saith Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom? And they're losing their wisdom. They're losing their intelligence, their brains, their minds, because their kingdom is being brought down. Well, what rules the kingdom? Men. Men are the strength of the kingdom. Men are the foundation, they're the corners, they're the towers, they're the roof, they're the covering, right? Well, remember King Nebuchadnezzar? Remember when he went crazy for 7 years because he was proud, and then after his being crazy and eating grass for 7 years, he was restored. His mentality, his understanding and brightness, his mind was restored. Well, that's what the Most High is doing with Esau as a whole. He's slowly turning down their minds like a radio. He's turning down every second their intelligence levels. Their wisdom levels are going slowly and slowly down. They're making stupider and stupider decisions. They're repeating the same things over and over again. It's a supernatural vibration that is being released onto them, a spirit that's fucking turning down their brains. Shall I not in the day, saith Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? Mount goes into the government, goes into the rulership. They're 1% upper echelons of the wicked, meaning the left hand Elohim spirits that give them their intelligence is not going to be given it to them anymore. Look at verse 9 and 10. And the mighty men of Teman, that's talking about Germany, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau shall be cut off by slaughter. Look at verse 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob Shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever for the violence against thy brother Jacob. What did you see here? You saw 10 fully grown Edomites, man, smashing to pieces this one Jake while he was fucking handcuffed. Look.
Details have been released in how Mid-State Correctional inmate Messiah Nantwi died on March 1st. This as 10 corrections officers from both Mid-State and Marcy Correctional Facilities are indicted and face a judge in Oneida County Court for the first time. It is your top story tonight. First, let's break down the top charges for each defendant. Charged with murder, manslaughter, gang assault, and more are Caleb Blair and Jonah Levi. Manslaughter, gang assault, conspiracy, and more, Thomas Eck, Craig Klemick, Daniel Berger, Francis Chandler, and David Ferrone. Charged with conspiracy, Nicholas Vitale. Tampering with physical evidence, Daniel Slauson. And offering a false instrument for filing, Michael Efert. News Channel 2's Jolene Ferris was in court for today's proceedings. She has the graphic details from the indictment, how Messiah Nantwi died, and how some of the corrections officers charged in his death are accused of trying to cover it up.
The ones who used to hold the keys wore the cuffs into Oneida County Court Wednesday, charged with crimes ranging from manslaughter and murder.
Not an intentional murder, but a murder so depraved and so wanton and disregarding of human life that New York law allows it to rise to the level of intentional murder.
To gang assault and conspiracy.
On the following morning, at a diner called Raspberries in Oneida County, all of the co-conspirators met and agreed to continue with the story that everything they did was completely proper.
The special prosecutor says 10:55 a.m. March 1st, Mid-State Correctional Facility inmate Messiah Nantwi was fine, and by 10:58, a radio call was made for backup and a CERT team response. Special Prosecutor Bill Fitzpatrick says the grand jury in this case suggests it's something that spiraled out of control unnecessarily.
The alleged contact that began between the National Guard and Mr. Nantwi had to do with Mr. Nantwi interjecting himself in another incarcerated individual's effort to obtain medication.
Some of the 10 officers charged in Mid-State Correctional Facility inmate Messiah Nantwi's death are accused of beating him with their fists, boots, and batons in the head, delivering 69 blows to his body alone, continuing the assault in a stairwell on the way to the infirmary, and dumping the 22-year-old in a holding cell in the infirmary, and continuing the assault there, with a conscious effort to cover it up.
Fragments of Mr. Nantwi's entrance into the infirmary are captured on one.
So, you guys see it. Same race of people and the same race of people. Jacob and Esau. One more prophecy proving that we are the Hebrew Israelites and that they are the biblical Edomites because we are tied together in prophecy. Lamentations 4:21 and 22. So this shows that we are in the position right now. Look at this. Lamentations 4:21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom. Talking about the Edomites that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup. What's the cup? What you see us going through with them, they're going to have to drink it. It's a portion of judgment. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. Verse 22. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. So as we are coming out of prison, as we are coming out of slavery, as we are coming out of the bottom of society on the earth in America and in the four corners of the earth, because Yahushua is now, he's now come back and restored us. He's taken up the elect. He's destroyed the 2/3. He's fucking vanquished the armies of Esau, Edom. And now all that's left, and America's been destroyed by thermonuclear fire, right? And all that's left are the elite Edomites and their $1 trillion underground bunkers. Now he sets up his kingdom, right? The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. And he's purchased us with his blood, and now we're done paying the price for our past transgressions. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. Why? because now we have our glorified bodies, right? We're with Yahushai. We're celebrating and we're weeping at the same time. And now we're about to be released to go get fucking the elite of Esau and take them into fucking captivity and start making them, breeding them like animals to bring back all the dead Edomite souls, and all the other nations are going to do the same thing and bring them all back down to earth and make them live out a fucking 1,000 years of slavery. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. And the entire nation,
Corrections officers.
the entire nation of Esau,
War. Thomas
will be like
Messiah
this.
Nantwi died on March 1st.
The entire nation of Esau will be in the courts of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai like this, looking down, looking ashamed, and they won't have a lawyer, and they're not going to be able to make a plea deal, and every fucking single one of them is going to get a triple life sentence, and we're going to fucking have our way with them, you guys. That is what's coming to these pink, red motherfuckers, bro. Okay? I pray that this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakadash, and double honor to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone, whom I learned from, and shalom to the hopeful elect brothers taking this truth to the four corners of the earth, bidding the elect spirits of Yahshua to the marriage supper of the Lamb, who is Yahushai. This is your brother Radah. Shalom.